Fresh start, everyone. Fresh start for Caravan of Garbage because we're in a new era of Transformers movies. Please leave a like.
Clean the slate, start again.
That's the thing about this movie. When I remember seeing the marketing for this, I'm like, okay, Dinobots, new cast, new setting, I think, maybe. Everything you knew before is, well, it's still there. But,
oh, that's a great tagline. I like that. Everything, you get Peter Cullen to do it. Everything you knew before. Well, it's still there, except less likable.
Yeah.
Somehow they've managed
Somehow they've done that.
The main character is somehow less likable than our previous main character, Sam Witwicky.
And
I have a list of things.
Oh, good. I'd love to hear them because from the start, I'm like, okay, this is like a normal, everyday dude. He's got biceps for America. That's cool. I'm all about this.
He's so American, he'll throw a football indoors. You know, he'll find a football in a location there would never be a football for any reason, like an old decrepit movie theater, and he'll just torpedo that thing.
He finds a football twice somehow.
Yeah,
how does he do it? We'll talk about it. Okay, well, where you're at? What's your list?
All right.
Cade Yeager, by the way.
Cade Yeager, played by Mark Wahlberg. I've written here, this is the title. It says, Cade Yeager is terrible. He's all the more terrible due to his lack of self-awareness. He's all the more terrible because Mark Wahlberg. But look, he doesn't pay his employees. He borrows money for his employee, but tells him he's lucky to have a job. Bad form, bad form. He steals electricity for his farm from the neighbours. He's 6 months behind on paying his property payments.
Yep.
He threatens the realtor and some potential buyers of the property with a baseball bat. Again, a property he's not paying for, so technically it's not his anymore. He throws the bat at a car. He's never invented anything that isn't a slight variation on something that already exists. The slight variation being that his doesn't work. That's the difference.
I love that painting robot. Like, how much painting is that doing? It's like 3 feet high and it just goes up and down.
They're already painting robots.
It makes no sense.
In car manufacturing plants. They do it all day.
That dog that he invents, it's just a remote control car with a robot
top.
dog stuck on it.
Yeah.
It's insane. But I think what they've done for him, I think they've gone, let's Tony Stark this guy. Because he's got a little Tony Stark beard. There's even the bit where he's kind of hammering something out or he's welding something and it's very the first Iron Man.
Yeah, there is
I
that
think
scene,
that's what they're going for here.
Yeah.
But he's awful.
I've got more.
Oh, sorry.
He makes his employees sign a contract where anything the employee invents, Yeager owns.
Yep.
Horrible. He's overprotective of his daughter, but he also fires a missile into the house while she's in it. He makes his employee take this live missile to the trash without telling him that it's dangerous.
Yep.
He gives up the chance to make $100,000 by selling out Optimus Prime because he needs to know how it works. Quote from him, "It could be a game changer for me if I apply that technology to my inventions." Mate, you can't do that. Look at them and look at you. You're making a remote control car with a dog on the top, and this is the most advanced alien technology in the universe. You cannot apply that technology to what you've got.
Absolutely not. Those things
It's like a monkey looking at the internet. You think they're going to apply? You think the monkey's going to apply the internet to its banana peeling? No, it's not going to work.
Those areas of technology, there's such a wide expanse between them. Because nothing there you can tack on to what you're doing.
Yeah.
He also wants to take his daughter to prom.
Yep.
And
not weird at all.
Not weird at all. And her
American, very American.
Very American. And her shorts are too shorts.
And yet the camera does linger on them a lot.
Yeah.
For a very offensive shortness of shorts. The director seems very interested in being like, get a load of this, boys.
And she's supposed to be underage in this movie also.
Yeah.
The actor herself is not, should point out.
Oh, that's an interesting take, isn't it?
We've got more to say about that.
Oh, boy, do I.
And we'll get to it. Because Michael Bay wasn't going to come back for this. I got some other names that were considered.
Oh, yes.
Roland Emmerich.
Makes sense.
Joe Johnston.
Okay.
John Turteltaub.
Right.
Stephen Summers.
Oh.
Louis Leterrier.
Okay.
David Yates.
Oh.
Yeah, so names. But you want to know the experience that changed his mind?
I would love to hear it. Is it incredibly Michael Bay-ish? Is it entirely ego-driven? It might be.
It might be. So after Dark of the Moon, he finally got to visit the Transformers ride at Universal Studios. And upon seeing fans waiting 3 blocks for the attraction, he realized he was not ready to give up the franchise yet.
Wow.
He wasn't going to give up on it, Mason. Not when there was work to be done.
A true American hero. Did he find a football in that line? And he threw it right to the front of that line.
I think also this movie makes an attempt to work in some interesting Transformers lore that we haven't seen before, as in other creatures in the universe that aren't just from Cybertron.
The Quintessons.
The Quintessons, but there's other creatures also aboard that
Yeah.
alien bounty hunter ship. I'm like, oh, I see. You're saying and doing things, and that's cool.
Sure.
But there's no... What?
There's no follow-up.
No,
Why
there's
would
no-
there be? Yeah,
no.
we've reached the point of just no follow-ups, no real continuity.
I mean, I guess there's Quintessons in the next one, I think. But we'll get to that if we... Why are we doing these? We promised that we'd push through.
yes, we did. It's true. Yes,
Because if we get them done, they're done, aren't they?
the people demanded it, and you're absolutely right. They cannot demand them after they're all finished.
That's
There's
right.
no more demanding after that.
What I also love about this movie is there's a moment where they go into an old theater and the guy's like, movies are just sequels and remakes. They're a bunch of crap these days. And that's what I call hanging a lantern on your terrible movie. Be like, you can't criticize this because we know it's a sequel. We know, we get it. We're with you. You don't get it. You don't get it at all.
no.
You can't just say sequels are bad and then make a bad sequel and it's okay. It doesn't work like that. What do you think of Optimus Prime in this though, Mason? Because we get the traditional Optimus Prime
We get it
truck.
for 5 minutes. I mean, it's covered in dirt, and it's implied that it's a
Piece of crap.
it's a last ditch attempt at survival, and it's
Yeah, sure.
But I mean, it looks pretty good.
There's a bit where he transforms into a truck.
He transforms right into a
Oh,
truck.
my
It looks
God.
good.
Apparently that's the second time in this series that we've seen him transform into a truck at this point.
Wow.
I know.
The transformations are getting minimal at this point. There's so many that are off screen.
Yes.
You see two cars chasing one another through shipping crates or whatever, and then all of a sudden we cut back and they're just climbing up a wall or whatever. They're already robots.
That's cool.
I'm not here for climbing robots. I'm here for transforming robots.
The first thing Optimus Prime says when he's reactivated...
His famous catchphrase for this movie,
Yes.
which he says twice.
Yes, I'll kill you. And then the second thing he says is, I'll kill you. And then later he says, I'm going to tear them apart.
Nice.
Classic Optimus Prime. I mean, I know he was in a pitch battle as he kind of went down, but like, he's make him nice. What are you doing?
Alright.
Why is he so mean?
No, make him worse. Make him worse. Why make him mean? Because everybody else in this movie's mean.
That's
Why
true.
wouldn't you?
And the idea again that the Transformers are just children. You mentioned this last week, but Bumblebee's just like this jealous baby of a sentient being. Like he's roughhousing with that fake Bumblebee, and he's like, "Oh, how dare this one? This one isn't as cool as me. You can change into anything,
Right?
What do you even care? Like they're
And
like
also-
Bumblebee isn't slick. Just change."
Again, the world is at stake. The lives of all the Transformers are at stake, and he's like, I'm gonna get mad about. I thought I was the coolest Transformer, but I mean, in his defense, at one point he does drive into a showroom that is specifically designed to personally insult him. Do you remember that? There's a point where he drives into the showroom of KSI, the corporate bad guys in this movie, and there's just video projections and model vehicles and robots, and it's like, this Transformer's based on Bumblebee, but obviously not as lame as Bumblebee.
Lame ball bleem. Lame ball bleem?
If you had a lame ball bleem, you'd throw that straight in the trash because he's straight trash. But Stinger, he's the better Bumblebee.
That's right.
So I understand that would be, if that happened to one of us, if we walked into a showroom and it's just like,
You thought you liked Caravan of Garbage? There's a sexier Caravan of Garbage with
That's
even
right.
cooler and younger kids. Mm-hmm. And they're all doing TikTok.
that's right.
Oh, no.
I'm mad about
You
it.
gotta do TikTok.
Yeah.
So they've got the character of Irish LaBeouf, let's call him.
Yeah.
It's Jack Raynor, who actually I really like. Have you ever seen Sing Street?
Nope.
He's a good actor.
I won't because of his performance in this.
So we're introduced to him where he sees Mark Wahlberg being taken away by the police. Or the secret police, or whatever organised. Doesn't matter.
I've written here Black Ops nerds.
Sure,
'Cause that's what they are. Look at him. Look at this old dude with his big Oakley sunglasses, his long black trench coat. Get out of here. Embarrassing.
And his response is to, maybe Mark Wahlberg has done something wrong. Maybe he should be arrested, is to drive his car over a man's face.
Right into that dude's skull. Just you see his neck just go in a very unnatural angle.
I mean, maybe he did see them put a gun to the back of his girlfriend's head. But he was sitting like a long way away in a ditch. Doesn't matter, does it?
And the Irish have notoriously bad eyesight.
That's true.
Yeah.
Take that, the Irish. Ben, flash an insult. They can't say it.
Nice.
Ben's the editor. He's good at editing these, isn't he?
Nice.
Yeah. See, it's interesting because it seems like Cade Yeager's choices become...
Yeager.
his choices become validated as the movie goes on. Like,
Yeah.
he's right to be protective. And he's right to be a great inventor or think he's a great
Yeah, right,
inventor.
uh-huh.
Whereas the other guy, who starts as more reasonable, becomes more of a spineless loser as the movie goes on.
What are we talking about here?
The Irish LaBeouf.
Oh, yes, right.
And it culminates in him not being able to get his seatbelt off in a car.
That's right.
Even though he's a professional driver.
Do you think that Cade Yeager is less an inventor and more like he's more a competence vampire? Like the longer you stay in his orbit, the more of your own skills you lose.
But he doesn't take those on. He just brings you down
brings
below
you down
him.
to his level. Yeah. Oh, that's right, because later that kid becomes a coward. He can't fire a gun.
Yeah.
He can't, he just has to cower behind things. But early on, I mean, he does some heroic stuff, like the thing you mentioned. He kills those men. And then shortly after that, he drives through the front window of a store running a bingo game. Assuming that the most agile gamers of all, bingo game players, could just dive out of the way. Yeah,
He's a bad dude.
He's a bad dude.
But Cade Yeager, of course, his actions result in, he's shooting Gunface at the end. Oh, there's a new villain. He's called Gunface. It's Lockdown or Lockjaw or Locktrap or Lockup, whatever his name is. He's from the comics.
He's got a gun that comes out of his face. His signature gun face.
Yeah, I like the Gunface transformation. But Cade Yeager, his arc is, I know you love a callback in a movie where he does find an American football and he uses that to take out Black Ops Nerd.
Yes.
For America in the most American way possible.
Oh,
but
yeah.
you love a callback, don't you? You love like a skill coming back.
Yeah, dude. That's an 80s movie.
Yeah.
You can't see somebody riding a skateboard and then he doesn't save the day with some skateboard tricks later. Yeah.
So, okay, maybe this isn't the worst one. It might be. I don't know. Sure.
It's what it is. It's the chaos and mayhem that we mentioned, last week. And then he'll just throw in some award-winning actors.
Yep.
And he'll just throw in some new scenery and some new ideas. And by the end of it, you're like, I don't know if this is better or worse.
Yeah.
I don't. What happens? I mean, Stanley Tucci constantly on the verge of disintegrating mentally. It's hilarious. I love it.
I think his character has the best arc in maybe all of the Trans4mers movies because he starts as this horrible Elon Musk type, like an Elon Musk. And then, he has a bit of a change of heart and he realizes what he's doing. And he has delicious milk as well.
That's exactly right.
He pauses for quite a long time.
I wonder if you believe that because he does have the strongest redemptive arc or because there's a side character who constantly points out how his redemptive arc is going. There's this woman who's a geologist. She's got a lot of moxie for a character that I forgot was in this movie until I rewatched it. But she's just there being like, I don't know if you should be doing this. And then later she's like, I'm proud of you, Stanley Tucci, and now away with me. And then she just leaves.
She does. She
So
evaporates.
maybe that's why. Maybe it's because there's an
You
arc
might be right.
narrator.
Now, I say it might not be the worst, or maybe it is, but it's certainly the weirdest.
Oh,
and there's
yeah.
one scene in particular that highlights that more than any
There's
other.
one scene in this movie that I've thought about probably more than I've thought about any scene in the history of cinema.
Yeah.
Like sometimes I'll just wake up in a cold sweat and I'm like, why? Why did... So Cade Yeager's daughter, who he's very protective of,
Sure.
has a secret boyfriend, Irish McLaBeouf.
Yes.
Irish McLaBeouf. The rally driver or whatever he is. And he's a legit rally driver because he's been signed with Red Bull.
Yeah, he tells us.
That's right. But it turns out that while she is 17 years old, he's 20 years old. And understandably, Mark Wahlberg not happy about that. And so they all have this argument. I mean, this movie's a series of arguments. It's just all arguments all the time. But they have an argument in which they debate whether or not this is ethical or in fact legal.
Yeah.
Which culminates in Irish McLaBeouf drawing from his wallet a laminated card which contains on it the relevant legal statute that makes it okay for him to sleep with the daughter.
Yes.
Why is this in the... This is a movie that is largely concerned with cars turning into robots and punching each other.
Yep.
And it's already 2 hours and 45 minutes long. There's no reason for this to be in this already bloated monster of a movie. It's a mystery to me.
It's baffling.
It would be too specific for a public school sex education video about the age of consent.
Yeah.
It's still too specific for that. If somebody put their hand up and asked about that in class, they'd be like, oh, maybe check the website. I don't know.
Yeah.
It's an odd thing for you to ask at all.
It really, they really go out of their way, which we've talked about this before, because we have done an episode on this on our podcast, The Weekly Planet.
That's right, good plug.
That was somebody associated with this and knew somebody, like had a son that was dating somebody in high school, and that's how they know this?
I think Michael Bay got a producer on board and was like, hey man, you're a producer here. Do you want to put in some product placements? Is there a
Do you want Mark Wahlberg to crack open a warm Bud Light naked in the street?
Exactly.
It's all foamy and warm, and he's like,
Does one of your kids have a favorite Transformer? You want to put that Transformer in? That's cool.
Do you like Galvatron?
Exactly. Well, put Galvatron in. Why not? And this guy's like, yeah, I know something that should be put in this movie that transforms people's opinions of underage relationships. I think that we'll put that in. I tell you what.
Awful.
Yeah. Also, in the fun trivia fact for this movie,
I love facts.
I was reading
Fun
them and it
trivia
came up.
time. Trivia. The trivia section.
It turns out maybe that particular legal card doesn't actually apply, so maybe it still is illegal. So,
well, if we're talking about trivia, let's do trivia now.
Let's do trivia
We're
now.
not finished yet, but Mark Wahlberg pulled from his real life experience as a father in order to further develop his character.
threatening.
Awful. Biceps.
Yes.
So let's talk about Galvatron.
Okay.
Now, Hugo Weaving famously went out and was like, I hate these movies. I
Did
get
he?
paid for them.
I didn't know
and
that.
I don't like them. And Michael Bay was like, well, I'll replace you then. And he was like, all right. So they
It
got...
seems to be something of a pattern that people do these movies and then say, I hate these movies. And then Michael Bay says, well, I'm replacing you in those movies. And those people say, okay. What, did you think I was going to do these for the rest of my life? No.
So Frank Welker is the original voice of Megatron.
That's right.
It's nice to have him back. He does a pretty good job. That being said, the design is awful.
Oh my God.
It's an awful design.
I mean, it's slightly, it's more crisp. It's like,
Sure, yeah.
you know, it's certainly shinier than previous iterations of Megatron.
By the way, Megatron's head got split down the center and torn off its body, and we see the head and it's mostly intact.
Maybe transform him.
Yeah, maybe transforming
But also in this movie, there's no correlation between how badly damaged a Transformer gets and whether or not it's going to survive.
Yeah.
Like at one point, Gunface shoots Optimus Prime twice through the chest.
Yeah.
Like straight through with like a
once with
high-powered...
a sword.
With his high-powered signature Gunface. And he's fine later. So who
Absolutely
knows?
fine.
But I was going to say, the evil corporation KSI build Galvatron out of Megatron's brain and head.
Yes.
And then they're continuously surprised that it keeps looking like Megatron. They're like, we've done this 5 times. We're trying to make an Optimus Prime, but this thing we've made out of Megatron keeps looking like Megatron. Should we keep going? Yes. What's the worst that could happen?
Look, that...
This movie is the answer.
Yes. But look, though, it does have a redemptive characteristic to it, the Galvatron robot.
Oh, yes.
That being the amazing transforming effect. No good.
I don't understand. Was it cheaper? I wonder.
I don't know. Beats, though. Beats.
Oh, you know, it did turn into Beats the Pill.
The pill. But why? I feel like it's the same kind of evolution of the Iron Man suit when it becomes the nanotech suit. Like, I understand the progression, but I like the clinking and the clanking and the way that they transform. I don't just want... And then it's whatever. You know what I mean?
Yeah, right. Maybe Bay wanted something that was all his own.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? He was like, well, this is old school.
Congratulations.
Yeah, you did it.
Dinobots are in this.
Yeah, for 5 minutes, I forgot.
Yeah.
I mean, 5, 20, half an hour, I don't know.
Yeah. I think it's about 15, maybe.
Okay, cool.
And Optimus Prime gets them on side by saying, defend my family or die. These guys have been strung up for potentially millions of years on that ship.
Yeah,
We don't really know. And then he's just like, help me, a guy you don't know, or I'll kill you.
And then at the end, he's like, you've earned your freedom. And they're like, all right. God, this guy.
You're weird and mean and we don't like you.
Yeah, we're leaving.
Of course,
We're leaving to ruin this planet. What are you going to do?
Optimus Prime, his story culminates in killing Kelsey Grammer. How dare you, quite frankly.
I've written here, Kelsey Grammer is killed by Optimus just as casual as you like. He's busy fighting Gunface and he's just like, well, I got a second. Bang. Extremely dead.
And then Optimus Prime reveals something about his character that would have come in handy in every other movie, in that he can fly.
Yes.
Under his own steam, somehow.
Yeah, I've written here, Optimus can fly at the end. This may have come in handy at some other points in the film, but I'm not going to go back and check, so I guess the film wins.
Yes. I love also all these movies ended Optimus Prime doing a speech, but at this point they're just whatever, because the line that he says at the end is, whenever you look to the stars, think of one of them as my soul. Okay.
Okay, I will.
Anyways, as we know from the next movie, he doesn't get very far because he freezes.
This is almost immediately out in deep space and just floats to the Quintesson homeworld or whatever. I don't know, whatever the new Cybertron is. We didn't even talk about the MacGuffin or the whatever it is in this.
Yeah,
it's a space seed.
I
just wanted to point out there's a moment where Optimus is like, humans, take the space seed and we'll go over here. And I'm like, hey, Optimus, why don't you take the space seed? Because you're a giant robot on like a seemingly indestructible, even more giant dinosaur who can shoot fire.
Yeah.
You hold it. And we won't risk all cramming inside like a old station wagon we found on the side of the road. Look, I've just got one little thing.
Sure.
My favourite frame of this movie, and
Sure.
there's so many frames, I don't know if you're aware of this, but special shout out, my favourite frame of this movie at 2 hours, 19 minutes, 12 seconds. Cade Yeager is seeing the chaos unfold. I think maybe
Chaos.
the chaos unfolds. I'm very sorry. And I think maybe, an Autobot just takes down a Decepticon in a real dramatic way, and Yeager drops this knowing look. Like he has any idea what's happening. And that he has had any idea what's been happening for the last 2 hours. Mate, it's amazing you survived to this point.
It really is. I think he's more of a fool in the next one even, but we'll talk about it next week,
Yes.
I guess, yeah. Look, it may be awful, but at least it's really long and it was the highest grossing movie of 2014. So we've got that consolation, don't we?
Good on them.
It goes for 2 hours and 45 minutes and it made $1.1 billion. It's excruciating. The more I talk about this, I'm like, yeah, maybe this is the worst one. I don't know.
Yeah.
I feel like I say that every week.
I mean, we say it every week. We go, this is definitely the worst one. But honestly, it's a matter of degrees.
Yeah.
Like, they're all the worst one, depending on how you're feeling on the day, how much sleep you've had,
Yep.
how many other things you have to do.
Anyways, we'll be back next week for Trans4mers.
5.
Oh.
Who's Autobot Jesus this
Last
time?
night.
It's
Last-
Cade Yeager. Cade Yeager is
Back to
Autobot
be
Jesus.
Autobot. He's even grown his hair out like Autobot Jesus.
That's right.
If you love Cade Yeager, you got to love next week's episode of the show. And if you want it even earlier, which I know you do, Mason.
I don't.
You can actually go to bigsandwich.co, sign up. There's bonus podcasts we do on there, including one relating to clickbait articles.
That's right.
Comic book clubs, movie commentaries, and of course, every one of these videos goes up there early. So if you do want to check it out, that would be great. And of course, we do have that podcast, as mentioned, you can check out if you want. You know what I mean?
Yeah, please
But
do.
you're probably tired from this movie, and that's okay.
Haven't we promised not to talk about the Transformers on the podcast this week?
Deal.
Oh, that feels so good,
But
right?
there is a new Transformers show that's out.
Oh my God.
That's right.
All right, let's roll the
Netflix's
dice.
own. Yeah, that's right. Okay, anyway, I'm at Mr. Sunday Movies on Twitter.
I'm at Wikipedia Brown on Twitter.
Subscribe if you want, and we'll see you next week, but just...
We're doing this for you, all right? Please show some gratitude. Just, grab that gem, you guys. We'll see you next week.
Goodbye.
Autobots, I have sworn to never kill humans, but when I find out who's behind this, he's going to die.